stage, please, with a warm applause, Candid Wuest and Patrick Pulvermueller.
Hi, everyone. Hi, it's great to be here. I have to start with one disclosure. I always say to the Commodore people, I'm sorry, I just found out about this about Candid. I was always the Atari guy. But that aside, it's a pleasure to be here. I mean, I've been a service provider for almost 25 years. And when I look at these pictures, I realized how much of experience I share with all of you and how much I learned together with all of you. I also realize a bit when I look at these pictures how much hair I lost in the last years, but that's a different story for a different time. But I also realized one thing. As much as I was always excited to be a service provider, I'm even more excited to be here today in my new role as CEO of Acronis, where I can serve all of you with our technology and our services that Candid will talk more about later. But not only I'm here to serve you, when I look at the history of Acronis, which started in 2003 as a spin-off of Parallels, which many of you for sure know in Singapore, the service provider has always been at the core of what Acronis wanted to do. Just one example, in 2005, Acronis launched the partner channel, really dedicated to the service provider industry, something no other software vendor was truly thinking about. Or in 2011, where we released specific disaster recovery solutions, again, dedicated to the service providers, because Acronis knew at the core that selling with you and helping you to be more successful in protecting your customers is exactly where the market is going to go to. But we continued, of course. Looking at 2014, where we started our cloud data protection solutions, also for service providers. Or in 2018, where we also partnered with hyperscalers. Because one thing we all know, the world is hybrid, and as such, we are combining different solutions nowadays as service providers into one bigger solution to really, truly serve our customers. Or last year, when we started to significantly invest in integrations with many, many other tools you're using, but I'll talk more about this. And I could not be happier to frankly be back here on stage at the CloudFest in person here in Roost, a place I've been many, many, many years, and as Acronis has been the last 8 years. So I'm really, really excited to be here with all of you. But let's go in a bit more detail here. So first, I mentioned to you integrations. Integrations with all the tools and services you use. And we invested over the last years for you to truly benefit. How do you benefit? Through the integration, we are achieving two things. First, every partner who truly helps their customers to engage and use the integrated solutions does generate twice as much revenue at half the churn. So there's a 4x multiple when you do that. Why is that the case? Very simple. The customers who start to use multiple services from you as a service provider in one integrated manner truly, truly have a higher satisfaction, have a stronger loyalty, and are frankly locked in, which helps you to really grow with these customers. Besides integrations, we have always, from day one, focused on virtualization. Because we know only if you're able to truly use virtualization at scale in the tens or hundreds of thousands of VMs, then and only then you will be able to achieve the gross profit you need to truly serve your customers well, sustainably, today, tomorrow, and in the future. And as such, because we don't know what virtualization technology you're truly aspiring to use, as such, we decided to just frankly offer our solution for all relevant virtualization technologies. We don't want to decide on your behalf. We want you to have the choice to decide what you want to use for your specific customers, for your specific use cases, and for your specific situation you might be in. But we went one step further, and we went into truly also protecting workloads, be it on the control panel side, be it on the application side, where we just recently started with MariaDB and MySQL, and of course Microsoft SQL and other databases, and also on the email and platform side with G Suite or Google Workspace nowadays, Microsoft 365, Exchange, and obviously also IMAP solutions. So not only are we helping you to protect your back end with the virtualization, we also help you to protect the front end with all these different applications we are protecting. And the reason we do this is because we know, and this is something Candid will talk more about soon, the bad actors might come in from any angle, and that's where we really want to help you. And we do this truly around the world. Just in the last 3 months, this year, we added another 6 locations to our global footprint, and now we are at more than 48 different locations around the world. Be it in as remote locations as Bhutan, where we don't have too many service providers, but we have some, or be it obviously here in Germany, in the UK, or any other major country around the world. Why are we offering you these solutions locally? Because we don't want you not to have to bother about data sovereignty, compliance rules, governance rules, or other rules you have to adhere to. Because we are here to give you that flexibility. You choose the location you feel most comfortable with. 48 today, it was 30 14 months ago, and will be in the hundreds in the future, because obviously, ultimately, our goal is to offer our solution everywhere around the world in less than under 25 milliseconds. So that is our ultimate goal where we are striving for, which means in many larger countries, like for example the US, we are not only West and East Coast, but we are going to spread around everything. And I promise you, with me as CEO, we will continue to invest into integrations. We have a roadmap filled not only from an integration on the software side, but also on the tool side. I promise you, we'll continue to invest significantly in the latest technologies. We have built our own dedicated research center who's not only thinking about the tools Candid and team need today to protect us, but also the tools we need tomorrow around quantum computing and so on and forth to protect us from future threats. And we will protect every single workload that matters. And in our words, this means all data, all applications, and all systems, which are in the hosting and in the cloud area. This is my promise to you. I've been service provider myself for 25 years, and I know what you need, and I hope you tell me everything you need in addition, which I did not know about, to really, truly make you successful. And we are here and we are committed to really serve and protect you from everything bad out there. And let me now hand over to Candid, who knows all the bad guys, and I assume even personally, one or the other. Over to you, Candid.
Thank you, Patrick. And good morning as well from my end. So yes, the bad guys are getting smarter. This is concerning, but unfortunately, it is true. Although, for me, more concerning is, why is there my picture up there, right? I mean, yes, I do try to get smarter every day by learning something, but I'm definitely not one of the bad guys. You have to trust me on that. But in my 25 years of doing IT security, I of course did a lot of investigations and analyzed how the bad guys are operating. And yes, I can attest to that, they are getting smarter. For the last 2-3 years, we've seen smaller organizations doing finally the digital transformation, moving to the cloud, moving more services. The bad guys, they have done that a long time ago. They are already in the cloud. They know where it's lucrative and profitable for them. So we've seen, of course, the bad guys doing the classical distributed denial of service attack to bring your customers down, which is never really a good day. We've seen bad guys going after websites because, yes, maybe the WordPress, the Typo 3, or any of those plugins hasn't been updated as it should be, and then they found their way into it and either deployed something like mage card form jacking, stealing all the credit cards, or maybe deployed some cloud ransomware, encrypting the databases and everything behind it, which of course is not really fun either. And they know that it's very interesting for them to go after the hosting providers, the service providers, because for them that's kind of a multiplicator. If they manage to get in, they can go after all your customers, and they are doing exactly this. So this might be 100, 1,000, depending on how large your customer base is. And they use your infrastructure, your deployment tools. So RMM, PSA tools, all of those ready available for them to deploy their own ransomware, to deploy their own backdoors into the organizations. So it's quite difficult to actually kind of get away from that. Because once they're inside your organization, well, they have a lot of access. So would you actually notice those attacks, right? Yes, of course, denial of service attacks, you usually get a few phone calls from customers. If it's a ransomware attack and everything is down, like for example with the no support Linux hoster about a year ago, you'll notice as well because they were offline completely. So that's definitely a bad day. But would you notice if someone actually breaks your multi-factor authentication? There's currently the Lapsus ransomware group, which claims to have broken Okta, breached 2 months ago, and used that access to get into other companies. I'm not saying it's true, but just think about if it is. Would you notice if someone actually has access to your 2MFA and gets access to all your internal services to roll out to all your customers? That's a big question, right? But maybe out of curiosity, and just to check if you're still listening to me, by raise of hand, who here in the room has lost some data due to a cyber attack last year? Anyone? And who lost data but wouldn't really admit to it publicly? Raise your hand now. Okay, I see. You're not falling for that one. Which is, of course, why I brought some of my own telemetry from our Cyber Protection Operations Centers, which we have around the globe. And looking at those, we see that 15% of our customer base had fought, detected and blocked a malware attack on the endpoint last year. That means that attack actually went through email filtering, through your firewall, proxy, and everything, and reached the endpoint. So it's kind of a last line of defense. But of course, it was blocked by Acronis. If we look at it, we also blocked over 12 million different malicious URLs. That's not just the classical phishing emails that you might get. Those are also the ones connecting to a command and control server and downloading further payloads onto those systems. And one of those payloads, of course, is ransomware. We blocked over 150,000 ransomware attacks last year. That means someone actually clicked it, and it started trying to encrypt stuff, but we blocked it due to behavior analytics, even if we wouldn't have seen any kind of action beforehand. And I know I wanted to have some fancy robots dancing with me as well, or even the space robot. Really love that. Maybe I'll get the budget for next year. But we agreed to do a small video to show you how such a ransomware attack actually looks. So if we go into it, it usually starts with a malicious email. And we all know there's at least one in the office opening that because they really think it's for them. But that means the machine now is compromised, and once it's compromised, it will start reaching out to other machines in the office, maybe trying to exploit some vulnerabilities. But 2 is not good enough, so we'll start going further and further, trying to infiltrate your whole infrastructure, till, of course, in the end, once they have all the access, they will start encrypting it, and now all your infrastructure is down, including all your customer systems, and they probably are already on the phone calling you. I mean, that's pretty scary, right, Patrick? Because it's nearly real time here. Not all of them happen that fast, of course, but some do, because they can. Others take a bit more time, because they want to find the crown jewels, exfiltrate data, and then double extort you for that. But let's go back and see how can Acronis actually help, right? As we said, we interact at multiple levels. So what we can actually bring you is, if we start again with the malicious email, and you have someone double-clicking it, well, what if you have email security filtering it so it never reaches the user's inbox? Or URL filtering blocking anyone from actually downloading the payload? But let's assume that's not happening, so yes, we still have the inquisitive user double-clicking it. Now the machine would get compromised, unless, of course, you have a sophisticated anti-malware protection, which can use AI and behavior-based detection to even block unknown or previously unknown malware. But let's assume that doesn't catch it either. Well, as I mentioned, the next step would be to get weak passwords or unpatched vulnerabilities and spread further. So you absolutely have to know where are your machines and what's the level, patch management level. Do you have anything that you need to patch? Then you probably should do. And if you miss that, yes, we're going back to all your infrastructure getting compromised. And unfortunately, in the end, that means now you have a bad day because all your data is encrypted, right? Well, hopefully you have a business continuity strategy with backup and disaster recovery. And strategy here also means that you have tested it, right? It should be clear that you know how to restore it. Just having a backup, well, that's nice and good. But if you go back and look at, for example, the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack in the US, they actually paid in the end the ransom to get the decryption key. And then they figured out, hey, that decryption key actually takes quite a long time to decrypt. So they didn't really use it in the end for all the system. But it still took them a few days to restore because it wasn't really set up for fast restore, just in case we have a backup, yes, we can use it, but they never really tried it as they should. So what can we offer as Acronis? Well, we have the cyber protection. This is exactly what we designed it for. It's a multi-layered protection approach, starting with the vulnerability assessment, patch management, going through the URL filtering, exploit prevention. If there is no patch, you still want to block those exploit attempts. And then, of course, cloud reputation, local signatures, AI-based static analysis, but also behavior-based analysis with data protection, for example. If we know someone is encrypting your data, it doesn't really matter if we have seen that ransomware or not. If it's Lapsus, Conti, Lockpick, or any of those, if it's encrypting your data, you probably don't want to have it. So we can block it and restore anything that has been tampered automatically. And of course, that also shows you backup alone is not going to cut it. Backup alone is not good enough to fight the today modern cyber threats. You need an integrated solution which can actually protect your backups from getting deleted. And on the other hand, of course, helping you to restore files that might have been tampered by some other attack before it has been stopped. So all of those are important, and even if all of those would be missed, as I mentioned, you still have the plan B. You still have a reliable data recovery. You can spin up virtual machines in the cloud, use those while you restore locally, or you can even have physical disks shipped, because sometimes your ADSL connection might not be the best or the fastest, right? So sometimes that might be better. But I know all of this has been quite fast and quite through, so if you want to know more, and if you're not bored about my voice yet, then I highly recommend, well, a bit biased though, but highly recommend joining me today in the afternoon at 3:30 in my masterclass on ransomware attacks. That's going to be in the Circus Celebration Room, so heading up the stairs and then to the right. Well, I'll show you at a live example how the bad guys are actually creating ransomware. Don't worry, we're not going to let it spread out, right? So I'm not endorsing that. But I want to show you how easy it is for the bad guys to do so. And then, of course, also giving you more details on how are they actually managed to get into the cloud? How are they managing to get into Docker containers or Kubernetes and using those against you? Because, as I mentioned, they are already in the cloud. They're kind of cloud natives by now. So the question is, are you? If you're not sure, well, join me for the session. And of course, if you can't make it, for whatever reason, I'm not going to hold it personally, but we would love it if you find us at our booth, F5, and talk to me, Patrick, or any one of our engineers to know more about how Acronis can help you as hosters or service provider to make sure that you and your customers are actually protected for the future. Well, I think enough of scaring, so let's give it back to you, Patrick.
Thank you, Candid. Thanks, everyone. I can't wait to see how you protect us. Thank you for showing all the details later at 2:30 p.m. And see you all at the booth, F05. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Can I keep you 2 minutes?
Of course, always.
Yeah?
You always.
Okay, for me. Oh, thank you so much. It was just, I was wondering, right? These people, why is it still so difficult to just tell, yes, I've been attacked? What's the... Is Acronis actually been attacked? Would you talk about it?
Well, we are under continuous attack.
Yeah.
I mean, we are all under continuous attack, and I think everyone in the room knows the question is, was the attack successful or not?
Yes.
And that's the difficult part.
Are we getting attacked, but when, right? I mean, but why is this mindset that we could learn from each other, sharing the attacks and talking about it?
Yeah, I think people are still afraid of kind of admitting that they have been successfully compromised, so they keep it close to their heart. There are some groups which share, but it's not enough yet. As of course, mistakes happen. Sometimes it's a weak password that has not been reset, or sometimes it's a patch, as I said, maybe on a WordPress or Typo 3 that has not been applied.
It could have been updated, but it has not.
So nobody
should have been, yes.
to a mistake. But yes, we definitely should, because as Patrick said, it's not a question of if you get attacked, it's a question of when and will it be successful.
You joined Acronis last year in July. Weird times, right? To get a new job. How did it all start?
Well, honestly, I mean, I've known Acronis for 19 years. I've been a happy customer for 8 years. And the major shareholder can be quite convincing. Plus, it is an amazing team, amazing market, and amazing product.
You can see that at the booth. Where was the booth again? Which number?
F5.
F5?
It's really in the center. Just
look for Acronis.
Look for Acronis and you'll find us for sure.
You can't miss it. I've seen it immediately. Your workshop is mass class is at 2:30. Yeah. Don't miss out on that.
How to hack the CloudFest or something like that.
And we're going to see you tonight partying?
Absolutely. So if you're shy, hopefully tonight at the party we can discuss if you have been breached and if so, what we can do about it.
How was it to be back live on stage?
Amazing.
Right? God, we want more of that.
First one, so.
It's not your first one. Where have you been?
Mine was Singapore, but it's okay. But Roost is the best.
That's what we wanted to hear. Oh, no. But we didn't talk about that beforehand, so that was not... Thank you so much, guys. Candid and Patrick from Acronis.
Thank you.
See you around.
See you soon. Thank you.